Marxist-Leninist violent revolution and dictatorship of the proletariat promote power politics and proletarian domination. Proletarians use violent struggles to seize political power. The Communist Manifesto clearly declared that their ends could be attained only by the forcible overthrow of all existing social conditions, that is, to use violent revolution to destroy the old state apparatus and to establish a dictatorship of the proletariat. This is the root of evil in Marxism and Leninism. Evil is the main character trait that the Marxist-Leninist spectre passed on to the CCP. It is the root of all evil. In order to overthrow the warlords and restore peace that people had been expecting for so long, the KMT government began the Northern Expedition in February 1926. Ignoring the people's wishes and interests, the CCP used all kinds of schemes and intrigues to sabotage the Northern Expedition in order to seize political power. From October 1926 to March 1927, the CCP launched 3 armed rebellions in Shanghai. During the Northern Expedition, they distributed flyers everywhere, put up banners, and organized workers to strike. Picket squads of workers, organized by the CCP, engaged in violent conflicts with the police almost daily. The KMT government had to assign the army to assist maintaining social order. The KMT became impatient with the CCP's blatant provocation and decided to thoroughly purge its members. On April 12, 1927, the National Revolutionary Army disarmed the workers' picket squads in Shanghai and took over the Shanghai General Labor Union, which was the CCP's rebellion headquarters in Shanghai. At that point, the first CCP-KMT alliance was declared a failure and ended in blood and slaughter. However, the CCP twisted the facts and accused Chiang Kai-shek of betraying the revolution. When the National Revolutionary Army was at war with the warlords, the CCP was advocating peasants to rebel and to confiscate land from its owners in the rural areas. Between April and May in 1927, under the banner of "The Peasant Association has supreme authority," the entire area of Hunan province was shrouded in red terror, with violent mobs instigating rebellions all over. CCP leader Li Lisan's father was killed by the Peasant Association. National Revolutionary Army Corps Commander He Zhan's father was paraded around and publicly criticized until his death. The family members of middle and lower class officers and soldiers from the Northern Expedition Army were also killed. The horrible sight of it was very similar to that of the Cultural Revolution, when countless other people were tormented. This is the well-known Hunan peasant movement. The deeply rooted patriarchal clan system in the Chinese countryside served as a fundamental barrier to the Communist Party's establishment of political power. The rural society initially had a harmonious relationship between the landowners and tenants. Landowners lent land to peasants so that they could make a living, and in return, the peasants paid rent to support the landowners. This somewhat mutually dependent relationship was twisted by the CCP into extreme class antagonism and class exploitation. The CCP took advantage of the rebellion of social scum and hoodlums in the rural areas to establish the CCP's new social order for the revolution. These scum of society were praised by Mao Zedong as the bravest and firmest in the revolution in the rural areas. Unleashing the scum of society and robbery became the second and third inherited traits of the CCP. Taking advantage of the rebellions of hoodlums can be said to be the CCP's tradition. In 1871, a group of lumpen proletarians rebelled and occupied Paris and formed the Paris Commune. They are the ancestors of the CCP. During the rebellion of the Paris Commune, they cruelly killed the Archbishop of Paris and clergymen. They set fire to palaces, destroyed buildings, and censored the press. From then on, they regarded seizing political power as the most direct and convenient means for reaping without laboring. During the Cultural Revolution, in a debate over the term lumpen proletarians, the CCP felt that the word lumpen did not sound very good, so the CCP simply replaced the term with proletarians. Robbing can help the proletariat become men of property. Forming an army to establish its rule through military force requires arms, food, and money. Yet the best way to raise funds is to rob. The Red Army kidnapped the rich in counties of western Hubei province and held their families ransom for continued monetary support until the families were drained of their resources. Only then were the hostages sent home, many at their last gasp. Is there any difference between these actions and those of bandits? In his investigative report on the peasant movement in Hunan, Mao Zedong said the following: "It is necessary to create terror for a while in every rural area. Otherwise, it would be impossible to suppress the activities of the counter-revolutionaries in the countryside." Many of their deeds in the period of revolutionary action were in fact the very things the revolution required. Revolution, a word that has been given a positive implication by the CCP, has always been regarded as a synonym for the most advanced and the most just. For several decades, under the name of revolution, the CCP has conducted countless of the most evil and despicable deeds. In August 1927, the CCP, within the KMT Revolutionary Army, initiated the Nanchang Rebellion, which was quickly suppressed. In September, the CCP launched the Autumn Harvest Uprising, and it was suppressed as well. The CCP began to implement a network of control by establishing party organizations at even the smallest grassroots level in the countryside. In October 1930, after exterminating the remaining warlords, the National Revolutionary Army began to encircle and annihilate the CCP's Soviet areas, which lasted 4 years. From October 1933 to January 1934, the CCP suffered a total defeat in its fifth sally. The CCP lost its rural strongholds one after another. With its base areas continually shrinking, the main Red Army had to flee. This was the true origin of the 7,500-mile-long Long March. The CCP trumpeted the Long March as a Chinese revolutionary fairy tale, but it is actually the most dishonorable phase of the CCP history. The so-called anti-Japanese northbound operation was a complete and obvious lie. Pretending to be righteous, the CCP could only rely on lies. Deceit is the fourth evil inherited trait of the CCP. At that time, the Japanese army was mainly in the plains of north and northeastern China. Yet the CCP traveled to the plateau region of Shanbei, which was poles apart from where the Japanese actually were. In fact, the actual route of the Long March was toward the south and west,